Yep, and while the runners are getting their names all figured out and schemes, I didn't catch who our starting character was. But what are you hoping for in an opening? Are you hoping to see that Magma Key earlier, or are you wanting a rude hook route for our runners?
Hook route is fun. We've seen a fair amount of that, and goodness knows. My main hope is the required music. For a starting character, I'd like to see Cecil or Edward. They don't see much love on table flags, and it would be nice to see our runners be forced to go with that. Although our tracker Iker is letting us know that Rydia is the start character.
That's another good one I like to see. Rydia, a lot of runners like to take Rydia late in the game to get a good slingshot because Rydia's experience curve is really steep to get to that nuke levels. So having to manage a Rydia throughout the entire match is always interesting to see how people tend to handle them.
Yeah, some people just have her take a nap and turn her into the anchor for the whole seed, which I personally find a little disappointing. I'm hoping that at least one of our runners chooses to make use of her. Maybe if the free Hob summon is good, or if there's a Sylph or something nice hanging out in chest somewhere, that could happen.
Yeah, and in terms of a key item, I'd like to see, I like to see a hook route. I don't want to see that hook right away, though. I want the runners to kind of sweat. I'd love to have a last location Demus have that hook just to take away all hope if they're trying to avoid it. But I'm kind of evil that way.
Hey, chat seems to like the evil, seems to like the spice. Isn't here for something smooth, though. Quite honestly, something that turns jetty really quickly can be just as terrifying as the rudest hook route you have to go through.
Seen that a few times here in the tournament already. One of the play-in matches needed one key item, Darkness Crystal for go mode, and they got it as the first key item free. That was a very interesting match to watch.
Yeah, add a Tele on for an immediate D-Machine grind, and you just have straight execution from the first minute.
And we should be getting started here soon. Wanted to give a quick shout out to our restreamer, Leggy Starscream, and our tracker, Ike here, keeping us honest, and my co-commentator, Commander Leonhardt.
And to you as well, Bad Karma. Pleasure to be here with you, and thank you all in the audience for hanging out in the chat room and watching the race with us. And Iker has figured out Sylverfyre's naming scheme, Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read that book of his, but I have read Elantris and When He Took Over Wheel of Time for Robert Jordan. Great author.
Fantastic author. I have read the Mistborn trilogy as well. If you haven't read it, give it a good read.
But we are underway, and it's double Rydia. And Magus Sisters handing over that hook right away.
See, this is a reverse curse, I said I don't want to see the hook right away.
That Magus Sisters at that spot isn't terribly worrisome if the Baron Key turns up. By then, probably just go in and deal with it. Neither runner opting to take Rydia, so the second Rydia, so she'll be waiting off in the Mysidian Tower. If either of them had taken Rydia, they would not be able to get rid of her. The permajoin is a flag in the table set. Once you bring someone into your party, they're never leaving.
Yeah, that is one of the major differences between our group flags for the Highway to the Threemus Zone and these table flags. Group flags had a C buy flag on, which means you had to choose to take a character. If you chose not to take them, they were gone. This is the inverse. Once you take them, they cannot leave your party. You can, however, choose not to take someone. So that second Rydia will be waiting for these runners in the Tower of Wishes in the Cydia.
Both of our runners are immediately checking Baron in, finding Sid, who's a great early game complement to Rydia, who needs some help to get going. But an alt gauntlet in the first slot is not terribly comforting.
Yeah, that gauntlet is it's not hard, but it can be a little frustrating because they have mixed elemental weaknesses. You can't just throw a lit 2 and clear the field, with the electrofish out there. So I can see our runners maybe wanting to wait a little bit on that, as Sylverfyre is going to go check out what's in Mysidia, as Fleury is hitting the watery pass and finding another Sid there.
This is a much easier Sid, and Fleury also finds a ninja hat and an elven bow, which is a good way to get Rydia started. But Sylverfyre's find of both Tella and Rosa is probably a lot more exciting.
Those are 2 instant pickups for me. Anytime I see those characters in the table of flags, I'm just screaming at my monitor, get in my party.
And Sylverfyre, they agree with half of you and took Rosa, not committing to Tella just yet.
That's an interesting play. I know Tella isn't useful until you can get his spells, but he does have a couple of little spells that he can throw out to really help cure 2. He could be your white mage, as Rosa is your archer. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe Fleury takes both of them, but it's not a decision I can disagree with either, because they're going to clear Ordeals at some point.
Yeah, and even without that, as Groundflower's pointing out in chat, blink and exit Tella still has from the get-go. That's pretty big. And Sylverfyre's that second thoughts, and they're going to go ahead and pick up Tella now. And meanwhile, Fleury's checking on Damsian. It's a pretty standard early loot, especially with a free character here.
Yeah, we do still have the T-Spar 60, so only 60% of our chests are filled. That's why you walk into a room and see some of these chests open already. I like to come to Damsian early. It's about 10 chests that you can check. It really can have some gear that can get you started up.
Sylverfyre is going to give us our first look at the free summon, and it looks like Shiva. So if they actually want to enter the mountain from this side, they're going to have to leave and come back, as the ice will not melt off of that.
Yeah, Shiva's ice cannot melt this ice wall. Fleury found a Rosa at the top of Damsian, so 2 Rosas, 2 Rydias, and a Tella, and 2 Sids.
I give a slight edge to Fleury for that Rosa's outfit. Showing off that icy blue wintry wear.
I know I've done it. I've seen other runners do it. When you have a choice between duplicates, you kind of want to make sure you have the one with the better looking color palette.
And this is all Rosa.
Third Rosa at the top of Hobbs.
If we get enough bows and good arrows and just leave one behind as an archer, we could go for that. And speaking of oops more, we have a vanilla Tella.
So Fleury did not need to check the characters in Mysidia to get the same party that Sylverfyre has.
We'll see if there's more variety, or if this is just going to be a massive oops all mage team with Sid playing chemist.
Sylverfyre's getting the news of the extra Rosa, and Fleury possibly heading to Antlion now. Oh, gonna go check the hook route character.
It's that way. Possibly also the shop. Granted, that now that we're on S Pro, you won't find quite as heavy gear in the gated shops. You're not going to see your Bacchus, your Coffin, your Siren, your Hourglass, but it is still a gated shop and worth a look. If you're wanting that curse string to anchor with, you're going to have to find it in a gated armor shop.
Could also find an Ogre Axe. That's a good way to get a Sid online early on. Has a Tella, so we probably won't be seeing a Mac Giant grind, but Ogre Axe is one of the better weapons for Sid. Can't equip a shield with it, and hits pretty hard for this overworld. Yeah,
and if the runners have to dive the hook route, can't find a magma, and need to level up, then it will do very well against the Mad Ogres in the Tower of Babel, possibly the Mad Ogres in Eblan Castle, and maybe even random encounters, Depending on how rude the hook route is, any of those options could be altered.
Fleury found Cure 3s there. Only took 2 of them. I suspect that's probably in case Fleury finds D-Lunars somewhere. That would just one-shot him with those Cure 3s.
Well, you called it with the Ogre Axe. There it is. And I called it with the Curse Ring. So, teamwork.
Team commentary, making it work for the runners. Sylverfyre came in from the back way on Watery Pass, went all the way through, has the tell us so they can escape, sees the Sid there, doesn't pick him up yet.
And this Watery Pass had some terrific loot, so Sylverfyre's not going to miss out on that. That'll be good for them.
Yeah, and Fleury found the Staleman chest early on in the first room of the cave, so is going to make short work of all this chest. This is some higher tier loot in the Cave of Eblin because it does have a trapped chest, as there's another Sid.
There's no variety amongst these characters, and that Odin in the Rubicante spot is no joke.
That we saw that in a race recently, and that made things very difficult for our runners.
Yeah, that's a lot of hit points to chew through before the sword comes up and slices across your party. And you haven't seen an Edward, haven't seen anybody to wield a Thunderclaw. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see one of our runners choose to take an Edward for that Odin. You know, that really commits you to some long-term planning.
It does, but as far as Zeromus goes, you can get by with 4 contributing characters. If Edward's only function in your party is to get you past a rude hook route, then I feel it's worth a slot. That being said, there are other ways to deal with that Odin, and Edward isn't one of the easiest, but it's at least an option.
Yep, Barabbas Brown, it was from the Watery Pass.
And after seeing the various options, Fleury's going to go ahead and pick up Sid, the only melee option we've come across in the absence of something like a heroine robe to go along with that elven bow. Rosa could be quite a good warrior with that, but none of the chests have turned that loose.
Also still need to find some arrows to go with that elven bow. I don't believe we've seen mute or charm arrows out there yet.
True, and that would probably require a shopping trip, but there's a decent chance of finding some kind of quality arrow in one of these overworld weapon shops somewhere. Right now, ice is the best we've got. Fleury doing a quick equip of Sid, going ahead and getting him back row glitched, slaps the bow and arrow on him so that he can deal full damage from the back row for the rest of the game.
Tella decked out as a black mage, Rosa is going to be wielding that bow, but also the sorcerer robes. That's some really nice defense for Rosa to be able to handle a hit here or there. Even that black robe is going to be allows Tella to take a hit or two. I didn't catch if Sylverfyre found that Staleman chest on the first floor or not, so it'd be interesting to see. We'll be able to tell here soon if they just loot with abandon.
Might have gone past it, just figuring to tuck around and not worry about a couple of chests, make for a more straight line path. And yes, Ground Flyer Fleury did see the curse ring, didn't have the money to pick it up yet, and probably isn't going to be too worried about it until the hook dive comes into play. The overworld spots, you're generally going to run fast anchor as it is.
And we just have some dolls at the bottom of the Antline Cave. This Stardust is going to make quick work of them.
Yeah. Good use of a J item to quickly deal with what could be an otherwise annoying early fight. Well, when all of your objectives are on Earth, Pass is a great find.
Not the key item you were hoping for, but it could be the key item that you need.
Yeah, you just saved yourself the walk down the LST.
I got to be wondering how these runners are feeling, seeing this hook route looming ahead of them. Fleury just getting the pass. I'm sure Sylverfyre will be heading down the bottom of the ant line shortly as well. It's like, seeing that Odin there too has got to really get the mind going. How am I going to get through that?
Personally, I'd be feeling like I really want to find a magma key. I'm checking pretty much everywhere I can. I'm definitely checking all of the key item spots. I'm going to check Mist Cave and Waterfall for demist if that doesn't turn it loose. I wouldn't go so far as to check Magus Sisters for demist, but if any of these other key items open up the overworld, I'm taking as much as I can before I go after that.
The one rude thing too is if you see, Valvalis, Wyvern, or Golbez on Mount Ordeals gating that boost up for Tella, you got to find a way to power through it because you do not want to take an unpowered Tella through that hook route.
No, absolutely not. Blink, helpful against Odin, but with this party, I'm really needing to get a Lightning 3 out of Tella to land on Odin if I'm going to have any hope of cutting him down in time. Also possible, I honestly don't know how strong the Odin attack is at that spot. With enough levels, it might be possible to get Sid to where he survives it if you blink him, and then maybe you can get something going the second time. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I believe that Zantetsuken hits for around 1,100 in that spot, 1,200. So it is possible to get Sid to live through it, but none of the other characters will have the HP until much later levels to get through that. So you're going to want to get him down as fast as possible. Fleury is rewarded with a spoon for defending Fabul.
Well, that is a little better than a key item. Even if we do find Edward, he can't wield it, not on this flag set, and Ninja's not going to show up early. The party could well be full by the time we find him, and you can throw it at that point if you find one. Otherwise, hey, I think a shop will give you some good money.
Interesting thing to note there. Fleury kept that ninja blade that he found. Maybe holding out for that edge.
I probably would too. Unless there was something I was really desperate to buy, I'd go ahead and hang on to the ninja, especially with that spoon. So, yeah, seems fair.
Runners had a brief high five outside of Silvara as Sylverfyre looks to be heading towards the Fabul defense.
And nothing like seeing Odin staring you in the face on the Rubicante spot to motivate you to pick up a healthy stack of Thor Rages.
Thor Rages, and I would definitely be looking out for lit arrows.
Yeah, be good too. If that Eblin shop had illusions in it, that could also be very helpful, but I didn't see them there, and those are going to be gated on this flag.
Also, chat, if a Dark Knight leaves a spoon at your house, you keep it. It doesn't matter what it does. If it's just a perfectly ordinary spoon, there's a reason that Dark Knight left that spoon with you.
But if you find out that you can grant 3 wishes by using the spoon, don't fall for it. It's a trap.
100% curse spoon.
Sylverfyre's about to deal with this Ogopogo at Fabul and get their own spoon. Fleury, in the meantime, is tackling Ordeals and finds, Goldhead.
This is not a terrible spot. While the magic attack is pretty high here, the speed is not. I would not be surprised to see some Starveils get off here.
Sid heads up there by Fleury, taking a quick knockdown on Rydia. Golbez is already going to reduce the party to 2, and by taking her out with that first action, he helps control which 2 members are alive, and getting Veils up on Rosa and Tella. That should guarantee that somebody is standing afterwards with a Veil up. Berserk now is asking, what's at the Vanilla Fabul defense spot? The Gauntlet. The normal Gauntlet in Vanilla, with the soldiers and the little bits of monsters and that single gargoyle.
Yeah, why bring more humans when you can just send monsters in?
Well, it's just another demonstration of how the lengths that Baron was willing to go to take over the world.
Oh, in the vanilla game, it is the Black Sword.
Ah, yes, the item.
In later releases, it was renamed to be a Deathbringer.
Due to its ability to proc a swoon attack.
Sylverfyre took a wipe to that nope rope. I'm not sure what happened, if they were just expecting to get it down, or I know the week went out on Rydia.
Flurry's made it through, and the back attack.
Ooh.
Yeah. Still,
That's not
worse. Spot isn't punching them that hard. Both Sid has found some pretty decent armor, and Rosa's safely tucked him back with a sorcerer robe, among other things. So, might take a little bit of time, but it shouldn't be too bad.
Definitely one of the better spots to see Bigan. In later spots, it gets really fast, really punchy. And right here, just a little fast and a little punchy.
Yeah. No, in Phineas, Flurry seems to be deliberately avoiding that arm grind. The arm grind is not your friend.
CPU org grind, yes. Bigan arm grind, no.
Magic Sister's grind. Maybe. Depends on how dangerous Little Sister is with her spells.
Looks like Sylverfyre is getting through this Ogopogo fight a little bit easier this time.
Oh, that's good. Ogo's just generally rude with those double big waves and then the other big wave. Each one hitting for 25% of HP. Flurry's about to enter the tomb and find out what our key item is here, as well as the last boss. The weakest spot. And no leggy, the split is not even on Bygone. Like, I think over 90% is on the body. If not, it's something close to that.
Finds a rat tail. At least it's a key item that can give you another one.
Yes. Opening up more overworld checks. And we've just got a dark elf in here. No big deal. One swing is already going to make him change, and he'll be gone before too long.
Sylverfyre is through the nope rope. Got to get the cursed spoon. And probably going to be heading to that Ordeals and confronted by that Golbez.
Flurry with a small lead now, thanks to getting through Fabul on the first try, maybe, but a couple of other little small things here and there that are starting to add up, but it is not something to count on. If that Odin is required, then the time spent there is likely to be the biggest separation.
And while Flurry is going to run down the buyers doing some shopping, please give our runners a follow. They've been putting on a good race in these first 20 minutes. I'm sure it's only going to get better as we go forward.
And also a follow to our tracker Iker and our restreamer Leggy Starstream. Can't do this without a lot of teamwork and a lot of different people volunteering to put on as many of these races as possible.
Looks like Sylverfyre is going to be doing a little bit more shopping before heading up Ordeals. While it has the Fabul defense XP, feeling like maybe they need a little bit more as well.
Understandable. You don't know what bosses you're up against. You know there's a gauntlet in Baron Inn, but Ordeals can have some rude surprises for you. And Rat Tail gives us Twin Harp. That is what's needed for Objective 3.
I would not be surprised to see Flurry chase that down now. Again, kind of hoping to get a Magma Key out of that. But also because it's objective, I am one of those people who always wants to go after the objectives first. In case they have other key items that lead me places.
Yes, the objective play here is I feel the obvious move. Maybe a little more debatable if it's not an objective. I could see some people still checking it, like myself. And I could see other people saying, it's too long a check. I think I've got enough XP for the hook route. Let's just roll. But all of that's academic because it is absolutely an objective.
Sylverfyre is going to be diving down in the Antlion Cave now. We'll be getting a pass from those dulls. As Flurry is heading to Cave Magnus. Going to be giving us some tunes from DJ Spoony B.
Quick grab of a black chocobo that can sometimes be a bit pesky.
I can't remember. It was, I think, it might have been Invenerable who suggested a chocobo flag that speeds them up, making them harder to catch.
Sounds like something he would suggest. I'm not here for it, though. I've had enough trouble with those things as it is.
Flurry making his way through this cave, not doing any looting. I don't blame him. The loot goblin in me will always loot things, but Flurry is showing why he is has the discipline to not be going for those side chests.
Yeah, it just becomes ultimately a question of knowing the flag set. What do my characters need, and how likely am I to get it in this location? Magnus is bumped up a little bit to some other locations because there's just the one check here that's a bit long, and so it tends to be visited less often, but it's still nothing to write home about. It's no cave emblem. We're going to take a break from commentating as DJ Spoony Bard is going to grace us with some lovely tunes.
And that FF8 music is rudely interrupted by the King Queen Evelyn transitioning to their non-evil selves and playing sad music instead.
Unfortunate. But we should be getting an encore from Sylverfyre before too long. Firebomb is also rude.
Oh, not what you want to see.
But the real treasures here were a great rendition of music, and I suppose an objective is good times too.
I don't think Sylverfyre is too happy with this Golbez. It looks to be they're taking some random encounters.
Yeah, this could be to level up. This could also be to do in advance what Fleury did on the fly and knock down people so that the right people are standing when Golbez happens. And Fleury's making Marin in check. Other than the Demist, this is the last currently available hope for that Magma Key. If it's found, this could suddenly turn from rude to pretty fast, as that Magma Key becomes the second objective, and we're just a Baron Key from Go mode. If it's a hook route, all bets are off.
Yeah, this is not really a spot you want to see this gauntlet at. Gonna give you more than the 1400 XP you would normally get, which is nice. But like I was saying earlier, some mixed elemental weaknesses make clearing them in one shot pretty difficult.
Yeah, normally this is a spot you can take out in one round of combat, and instead you're going to be spending much, much more than that to get through. The small bright side is that you will get a lot more experience than you normally would, but
And Sylverfyre looks like they are set up for this Golbez fight. It has Sid and Rosa poison. In Final Fantasy IV, the status effects have a order of precedence to them. Being poisoned going into the Golbez fight, the paralyze will not affect. Allows Sylverfyre to get those Star Veils off a lot sooner.
Heads up move by Sylverfyre also, making sure 2 people are down, so they'll have plenty of time to get Star Veils up and deal with this Golbez.
Yeah, with the starter kit, the 2 Star Veils I believe that our runners got to start off with is going to be more than enough to get them through here. Golbez being weak to fire, we saw fire arrows going on that Sid with a samurai bow. Normally, with the flags we have on, Golbez, Wyvern, and Valvalis cannot gate the path, the only path to the underground. So Sylverfyre is probably hoping that the path to the Magma Key is through this, seeing this Golbez, since we already have the hook.
Yeah, that does make sense, and it's a good point to bring up. They're not allowed to block the only path underground, but they are allowed to block a path.
Just having a little technical difficulty here. Our restreamer is working to get it sorted out.
Yeah, something like this is going to happen. This is kind of a convenient moment for it when Both of the runners are otherwise occupied.
We have one more fight after this alt gauntlet. I believe that worm is the last fight for the alt gauntlet, so we'll be getting to see the next boss here shortly.
And from what I'm seeing on Fleury's stream, Fleury's made it through the gauntlet, has checked the waterfall and mist bosses, and I don't see any new key items on the tracker, so I'm guessing Baronin just had treasure.
As the wyvern.
Yeah, gauntlet into wyvern, pretty rude.
And the magic power being low here, the two reflected mega nukes didn't even take it out.
Mm-hmm. And a protect ring. Protect ring, solid defense. It will protect against fire, ice, and lightning while providing all-around good numbers on both the physical and magical defense side.
Definitely helpful for that Odin fight that looks to be coming up here for these runners.
Yeah, but it is not the magma key or anything that possibly leads to it. The only hope now is a demist.
No, I'm muted.
While we're getting the stream back and normalized, Sylverfyre has gotten through both the Golbez and the Baiken fight as well.
All right, thanks for the heads up.
And it looks like we are back online as Fleury is through that wyvern, and Sylverfyre is working on the Dark Elf.
Yep. And since Fleury's got the hovercraft in hand, I dare say he's checked on Mist Cave and Waterfall and not found the demist, and so it is confirmed. This Odin is required. We haven't even seen what's in front of Odin. Definitely some rude possibilities there. King Queen, Evil Wall comes to mind. Mom Bomb would also be very cranky. But we'll find out soon enough. What's waiting?
We know a wyvern, and we know another rune one with Ogopogo will not be in these runners' way. We've seen both of them.
We also know it won't be Valvalis, because this is the only way underground.
Not too many rudes. Maybe, like you said, the Evil Wall. D-Lunars could also be a rude one.
Yeah, the main thing that makes Mom Bomb cranky is that King Queen Eblin is a pretty powerful spot with its attack routine, but doesn't have the hit points to back it up. So you can usually win the damage race, but Mom Bomb gets a significant boost in hit points. And Dathis, no one has checked Magus Sisters, so that is indeed another possibility that makes this hook route not required. You don't need an Earth Crystal. So it's possible that this Odin isn't strictly required if Demist is at Magus Sisters.
And Sylverfyre is diving into the Eblin Cave. It looks to be like they are skipping the Twin Harp check and Baron Inn, which is going to allow Sylverfyre to catch up, because doing those checks a little bit later with a little bit more power is going to get them through it a lot faster than Fleury did, even with the gauntlet there.
Yeah, that gauntlet's a long check, and while it does give some XP, at some point, if you're playing more aggressively, you just go for the hook route or get your XP elsewhere, and in Eblan Castle, you can also get some loot while you're at it.
So here's the interesting proposition. If Valvalis is at the King Queen spot, then that means Threemus is still out.
Yeah, and it would have to be a Magic Sisters. That's the only accessible spot. I would bail immediately. I would turn right around. I would go right up the Tower of Zot. I would get a Magma Key. I don't want anything to do with a Valvalis into Odin hook route if I can avoid it.
Fleury took a quick reset. Fleury picked up a Cecil. No, sorry. That was disregard. That was the overworld right glitch.
That tricky Dark Knight showing up most unexpectedly. Or Paladin. But an Avenger will make you wish you had one.
Yeah, as Sylverfyre found an Avenger in Castle Eblan. Don't have anybody who can use it, though.
It's a darn shame. Avenger is a very good weapon. It's got solid damage. It'll give you 10 points to strength, which is another swinging multiplier. But the big news is that it auto-casts Berserk on its wielder, which is great if they get knocked down. They stand up in their Berserk. Also, due to how the game code works, if they were wielding another weapon and they pick up the Avenger and just let it take over without inputting another action, the stats from the original weapon will be maintained.
And possibly going into that Odin fight with an Avenger equipped would allow for a lot of damage to be dished out early on.
Alas, no Kayn, no Cecil.
Fleury having a little bit of trouble with these Mad Ogres, but looks to... Oh, nope, takes the reset. Wants to use these Mad Ogres with some life glitches, it looks like. Otherwise, could have probably cleared out 2 of those Ogres and got the rest of the party up. For Get Cooped, you could actually go into the fight with the Holy Sword equipped, and then equip the Avenger in the fight. That would retain the Holy Sword's stats and properties, and still get all the benefits of the Avenger.
And what better weapon for a Paladin to wield than a Holy Avenger?
The reason for that in Final Fantasy IV, the stats within a fight when you equip a weapon do not update until you take an action, and the Avenger's Berserk status will take effect before that action, in most cases. This Tella is not cursed this time. This Tella is actually rocking that protector.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing. You would like, granted, he's got the anchor spot to boost the accuracy, but really want to make sure that these sizes hit.
Sylverfyre is getting a couple of life glitches off on these corals, is working on the Lamia. With the second trap chest here in Castle Eblan, hoping to get a little bit higher tier loot to help out with this Odin fight.
Yeah, the approach to this hook route and what lets our runners get through it in the least amount of time is absolutely the early deciding point, which, not surprising. We all saw that coming the moment we saw that Odin.
Just a Dragoon Lance, gonna be money if we don't find a Kayn.
Yep, money if we don't find Kayn. Maybe a very nice dart if we find a ninja.
I miss what Fleury's chest was off those Mad Ogres.
So did I. Chat?
Defense sword.
Okay. Good for that Avenger-wielding warrior we don't have.
Kane is looking down from a cloud somewhere, ready to get into the sea. It's shaking his head.
Silently watching from the lunar diaspora.
This is going to be a question, though. Depending on when that darkness crystal shows up, you know, and these runners do their grind, would you be thinking about a Kane with all this gear we found?
Tough. Rob, yes, I would. If there was another Black Mage, maybe that second Rydia slingshot set up full reflect would be about the only other option I would think. But I'd be perfectly happy with defensive Avenger Kane just going to town on Zeromus and the other issues.
And Sylverfyre just pulled a white robe out of that last trap chest in Evelyn. That is going to be very helpful for this Odin fight.
Oh, yes. White shirt is going to make Rosa a much more powerful healer and give her some terrific defense to deal with Odin. It's terrific.
And just some Kaipo guards in the King-Queen spot. While they can be a little punchy here, is technically a free fight, just needs to kill the front three, and they don't have a lot of health here.
Yeah, and with a no XP in this spot, there's no motivation to try and take out the officer, who has the lion's share of what would be XP in a different spot.
Would not be surprised to see Fleury turn right around and get a safety save.
Yeah, because while this officer fight isn't that hard, it's still a little time consuming, and with Odin, there's definitely a few times that you're just going to have to deal with. Both of these runners are very good to have gotten this far, but a first time through this Odin with this party would be very good.
Yeah, this whoever gets through the Odin first, you know, you can say that for any race, whoever gets through the hook route first, but I would be very surprised to see someone one-shot this Odin.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm proved wrong.
It would be a thing. Fleury's going to give it a first go. Kind of a feeling the situation out attack. Kind of get an idea. How bad is it? Confirm some of the numbers. See how things go. Quick slow is the order of the day. You want as much time as possible before that sword comes down hard.
Yeah, you don't want Tella to be taking that first hit there.
2 slows are in, as is a blink, and it looks like the plan is going to be to have Sid with his hit point pool survive the first Odin, and then go to town with the quick Cure 3 to heal it. You know, we might see Thunderstruck here.
I think that is what Fleury's setting up for.
There's Thor Rages. Just have to get through. The blink covers 2 swings. Here comes the next. Cure 3 to heal this. And just have to time this one right. 2 slows are going to help with that. In and out 2 times. Counting off the ticks. Sword is up. War Rage coming in.
He is Thunderstruck.
Well done, Fleury. On the first go. Pulls off a Thunderstruck with a 1200 hit point Sid at the Rubicante spot and is underground.
did say I wanted to be proven wrong, and I
got
was.
it. Most impressive.
There are a lot of reasons I'm not in this tournament. That's one of them.
And there are reasons that while I was in this tournament, I did not get past the group stage. Give me a few times and I'll work my way around to that strat, but no way am I going to come into this on the first go and just stone cold lay out a Thunderstruck like.
Chat tried to warn Fleury about the pitfall, but he did not heed their warning.
No one ever does.
There was a purple robe at the top of the tower there. We're not sure if that's Mylon and Friends or Mylon Z yet, but not a terribly threatening fight up there.
Yeah, either way, quite doable. But freebies are still freebies, and Fleury's heading straight to the family.
Our tracker ICure pointed out, now we know the reason why Fleury bought exactly 2 Cure 3s when he found them.
Yeah, that's a heads up look.
Sylverfyre working through these Kaipo guards. Fleury will be giving us the first look at what's in the Fate March.
Black belt on the way isn't bad, but the key item is a Blizzard Spear. I think I like the black belt better.
C just wants you to take a cane that you can't find.
Really is taunting you. Like, you sure you want to fill that last spot? You sure there isn't a cane out there? Maybe you want to hang on just a little longer? Rude, if you ask me.
Does that mean that the seed itself is trying to betray you as well?
I think it is. I think you're right. Well, now it is Sylverfyre's turn to deal with this Odin, arming some lit arrows. Looks like they're thinking more about a straight damage route than the Thunderstruck finesse. But whatever gets you through this spot, well done.
We found a plague in the Leviathan spot.
Yeah, and with a cursed ring on an anchor to get a couple of people at RA1, you could berserk them up and the count will never run down, and you can just sit there and take out.
Chat is pointing out we have the recipe for some low-level strats. We found vampires, cure 3s, and starbills.
Yeah, just have to get those. Find where that Baron Key and Magma Key are hanging out. If they're in some rude spots that require leveling of their own, then But Fleury's not even going with Berserk. Fleury's getting the preemptive Starveil. By doing that, the count gets reflected back on Plague. Then a slow gets slapped on Plague to get the ticks right, so that Plague doesn't have time to refresh the count on himself. And after a little bit, this count is actually going to trigger on Plague, and that's going to be it.
Now I'm hoping Fleury will peek that Rubicon sprite, see if that's Rubicante or Elements there.
I expect so. But Sylverfyre also taking down Odin on the first go, a completely different approach, other than the finesse of Thunderstruck, just power overwhelming from Lightning Arrows and Lightning 3 from Tella, and there we go. Well done by both runners.
I was hoping that would be your lot rooter, and we'd get some Odin death tolls, but I'm glad to be proven wrong by both runners. Fleury's pulling a Sand Ruby, so gonna get another character check out of the way. Oh, and that was a Leviathan, not a Mylon robe.
Ah. Was that a Melon Leviathan, or was that in the Asuras?
No, the Leviathan was top of tower.
Oh, thank you.
Purple, and it looked like a robe, so I just assumed it was Bylon. I forgot Leviathan's also purple.
Our runners are in a hurry. There's not much time to make a glance at it. Fleury's going to go ahead and set up Sheila 1, probably head up top, see if that's a Kane waiting in Typo for the Sand Ruby, and see if Sheila has those. Sylverfyre, thanks to getting through that Odin in one shot, is not far behind.
Yeah, so the only major difference between our runners now is Fleury has also completed Baron in check and turned in the Rat Tail to get a Twin Harp, and also did the Twin Harp. Sylverfyre still has to turn in that Rat Tail. Can get away with skipping Baron in, but they don't know that.
Yeah, but I expect that given the freebie that is a Rat Tail turn in, I expect they'll be taking care of that soon.
Fleury skipping the Sand Ruby check, possibly, or maybe doing it on the way back to the Underground, depending on what Sheila 1 gives.
Yeah, probably taking care of that later. See if this sears him somewhere. What do you have for us today, Sheila? Ooh. Good. Sheila, handing over the Darkness Crystal, the way to the moon, and the way to the D Machine grind, now that he's been up Ordeals.
And Sylverfyre reset out of that Asura spot really fast. I didn't catch if it was Elements or if it was Leg.
Missed it as well. Maybe chat knows.
Everybody's going fast.
It was Leg. Thank you.
Looks like Fleury will be heading into the Dwarf Castle. Sylverfyre tried to get the Star Veil off, but couldn't with the Tella. This is going to be doing a little bit more traditional plague killing.
Yep. Just keep knocking someone off and reviving them, and once it's convenient to walk up to a boss having been burned by Feymarch, kills are pretty easy.
Got the Karate Man in the Dwarf Castle. Fleury's still trying to find a 5th character, so maybe doing this to try and see who this character is. Also could be just hunting for 10 key items before doing that D Machine.
Character check, the more likely of the two. So it's still a long road to 10. I'm counting 6. So knocking loose some sort of chain is what's needed for 10 here. I think the character is likely, but on the other hand, Sand Ruby hasn't been checked, so it could be both of them, like you're saying.
It looks like Sylverfyre is actually still going to be looking to set up that reflected count strat, getting the slows on the plague.
Yeah, good call there. Or it's already been reflected when Did reflect happen already?
I missed it.
There it goes. Obviously it did, because Plague just said, I'm out. So we get the reflected count kill as well, and have your sandwich.
I would suspect that Sylverfyre is going to be doing that Sheila 1 check here shortly. Getting that Darkness Crystal, and we'll be having to make a decision on where to go from there.
Yeah, and Fleury did find someone that could use the Avenger and Defense Sword, Cecil, but is not satisfied at the moment with that pickup. Vanilla agility is real.
I am a big fan of Cecil.
I am too. I'd have taken him in a heartbeat, I'm not going to lie. But again, I didn't make it to table. Defense sword and Avenger, that's enough reason. I'm also a fan of Cecil.
Especially considering some of the bosses that could abuse a high-level Cecil's agility, such as Wyvern, has already been defeated. It may make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Might just be that he wanted a little more time to think it over, too. Probably not going to need Cecil to get you through this first fight here. Whoever's in the back of, you see it's an evil wall, you know your party can handle that. And you've got a little bit of time to ponder. I really want to take that Cecil. Might duck into Mysidia and grab him now, especially after looking at the Sand Ruby character if there's no help.
And also, while we have found that defense sword, you really want an X-Cal or a Crystal Sword wielding Cecil to take full advantage of that Avenger. And with that, well, there's half of a X-Cal.
Indeed. And yeah, I agree. Defense sword, even for me who loves having a Cecil, even on vanilla agility, defense sword / light sword is kind of my bare minimum. And it's still a minimum. So it's fair.
Fleury's going to be raising that well, probably going to round out his characters, maybe check the Lunar Deus.
Yeah. Check the moon character, check Hypo probably as well, and figure out who the 5th character is, and move on from there. Max, I wouldn't say completely haunted. Twin Harp is here at the Adamant Grotto, and we do have one half of Forge.
Still could do the Keyless Tower.
And Keyless Tower. But Moon is most likely required unless Top of Tower and Ruby at Asura have something else to finish the job.
Man, that Ruby at Asura would be as scary as that Odin at Ruby spot.
Bit of a thing. Give me... I'm missing one thing to make that... get cooped? Yes, Darkness was at Sheila 1. That's the Darkness Crystal. Give me one thing to make that Ruby a lot less scary, and that's a single piece of Dragoon armor other than Glock. Give me that with Sid, give me a Curse Ring, and suddenly Sid is absorbing all fire damage. Let me tuck him in the back row, where the punches won't be so bad, and it won't be pretty, but it'll get done.
Fleury taking a peek at this Lunar Deus character. A Punch Mage.
Yang is an excellent character for a slingshot, and with a D-Money right on the horizon, I wouldn't be surprised by a grab. But also, could just kick into Mysidia and check all characters first.
I believe it took him.
He's good enough for me. Call Yang the Punch Mage, because he gains strength off of levels, he doesn't really need that much in the way of equipment, and with Elemental Claws, he can exploit elemental weaknesses, much like a mage does. But enough about Punch Mages. We got some lovely music on an encore.
I'm suspecting you're saying it's that lovely just because you might be biased. And as the King Queen ruins the music once again, Fleury is beginning his manipulation for the D Machine, taking some fights out of Baron and counting his steps to see where on his chart that he's going to be at, to see if he has to take more fights out here, if he can head right in. Has turned encounters off, so maybe got lucky.
Yep, looks ready to go. Can't Run is a flag that's been used for this tournament. The traditional method of dealing with this was just to go straight to the giant and run from encounters there until you find your D machine, but since that's not an option, we have to take the encounters in a place where we can beat them, and they don't come any easier than Dark Paladin. They both seem like valid choices to me. Could just be a matter of preference. When this Yang slingshots, he's going to have a crazy amount of hit points, and it's hard to say no to that going into a D money.
And it looks like Sylverfyre will be giving us a peek at who's in the bed. Another Rosa.
Vanilla Rosa this time. Agreed. Not a compelling grab.
And Fleury has
Fleury's minute. It's possible this is Horseman, but I would give strong odds on a cookies bet that this is the
Sylverfyre is going to be turning in the Sheila 1, get rewarded with the Darkness Crystal. Now it'll be interesting to see if Sylverfyre does what Fleury did, does Dwarf Castle, maybe looking for another character, or if they just go and pick up Iridia. Judge Infinius counting is
given how hard Sylverfyre pushed the hook route. I think they're going to continue to be aggressive with this and just quickly grab a character that they like and go straight for the money.
It did do a quick menu there, possibly to just double check their levels, see who they got, trying to remember what their options are. But we will have the answer to all of our questions here shortly.
I mean, I finally get to learn the password to Jeff Bezos' bank account? Great. You don't know how badly I've been wanting the answer.
You're not the only one. I would also be happy with the Mega Millions numbers for this week.
Yeah, that's enough. I could live off of that.
Fleury working through his grind. I'm paid to talk, not paid to count, so I have no idea how many D machines have been completed at this point. Looks like Sylverfyre is going to check the lunar character as well.
Oof. There's that dreaded D machine counterattack. Somebody got out in front of Tella on the week, and good news is that it didn't hit Tella.
We've been seeing a number of runners throw blinks on Tella to account for something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that done before. It's a nice cover your bets type move. And as calm and casual as a D machine grind often looks, even in the hands of an experienced runner like Fleury, it just takes a little bit to have it slide off the rails. Recovery's coming along nicely.
And the one thing I just noticed, it doesn't look like Fleury found ethers anywhere, and Tella may still have that cursed ring on.
Oh, I hope not. Granted, that cursed ring is going to sort out the turn order, so that he doesn't have to worry about anyone jumping the line, but I would be a little worried about a weak always hitting with a cursed Tella even in center position.
The reason I was concerned, did a psych on that Rydia and only got 25 MP, so I'm not sure if she only had 25 MP.
I think it was a succubus.
Then definitely she only had 25 MP. Sylverfyre is going to be doing the hair dryers.
It's a decent source of XP. You can get through it, and with an hourglass, there's no if, you can get through it. And you might find some shiny loot.
Throwing some weeks out, getting these hair dryers down. Probably doing this because Rydia is within 5 levels, so wouldn't get the slingshot.
I think you're right. Dusty Griff agrees. I did see that level check earlier, and so that's nice heads up. Takes a lot of XP to get Rydia to nuke, and if you can take one fight here to cut that in half, great. Max Ross, no. Slingshot doesn't work with 4 characters, but Sylverfyre, after setting this up, will go ahead and grab whoever the 5th character is going to be, and by doing it this way, Sylverfyre doesn't have to concern themselves whether that new character actually slingshots off of this and gets pushed out of slingshot range.
Oh!
Well, now, if only Sylverfyre knew that there was a Cecil in Dwarf Castle. Hello.
That would...
One in every seed.
Every trap chest you don't check is a crystal sword.
This would be this is the sort of thing that would be great in co-op. For those of you that have never run co-op, you can talk to the runner that's alongside the screen with you and let them know the things, and so Fleury could be telling Sylverfyre right now, hey, go get to Dwarf Castle, you'll find your Cecil there, go for it! Alas.
Fleury has completed his grind, though. Sylverfyre is taking a couple more fights here on the moon.
I'm going to show off a reaction grind here. Dare say.
Bombs did the work for him and took out the Rydia.
And you put a lightning 1 drop on a grenade, and it uses reaction and wipes out the entire enemy party. In the meantime, Fleury has completed his D-Money grind and is now just on the lookout for the objective.
I would be really tempted to go moon here, with Keyless Tower being your only option on Earth and that Rubicon as a service spot. I would kind of be tempted to dive the moon here, but that has been proven to be very haunted for a lot of runners who do these grinds now. So
it has, but it's hard to argue with the numbers. I think you go moon here. Top down, bottom up is the real question. Honestly, I tend to go bottom up, but they each have their merits.
The real question will be how much moon to do.
Yeah, exactly. There's a tendency to just stick to the moon fully. You're already up there. The last thing you want to do is leave the moon early only to have to double back and watch that big whale cutscene one extra time. But if you get to the point where you've opened up several things on Earth but don't have your go mode yet, and your Earth checks start to outnumber your moon checks, then maybe you think about bailing early.
I think if we see a demist and a pan.
Yeah, pan is the biggest incentive to bail. That's 2 checks added on Earth. Of the big prizes, whether they're here or whether they're back on Earth, are Adamant, Baron Key, Magma Key. Those are the things that Fleury's hoping to find on this moon dive.
Sylverfyre picked up a Rydia and is working on their manipulation to get the D machine.
So there will be no Crystal Sword Cecils tonight. At least not in this race. Fleury is going for the bottom-up approach. Gonna head, probably save, and then go straight to the ribbon room with its 2 key items.
Looks like maybe Sylverfyre had found an X on the chart.
Yep. Have to reset there.
Yeah, that little stretch would be a good way to count, though. Looks like it's 5.
Yep. And you just count off 5 each time, and as the encounter hits, note how far away you were from your last border and do adding it. I personally am going to slowly walk in a 10-step perimeter around a rectangle, counting 1 at a time the whole way. Once again, why we didn't make it this far.
Fleury was holding down Y while counting his steps. Just saying.
That sounds like me.
Hey,
So,
I think the commentator's blessed right there.
right? Something about finding a demist? It's going to take a little while. There's a lot of hit points to chew through, and Mist is going to keep slipping in and out, but you're going to take this and be happy that you got 3. And at least you're fully leveled and can lay on some heavy spell damage to move things along.
Yeah, we'll be rewarded with about 100k XP.
Yep. A little more padding for the Z fight. Maybe get Rydia to the point where you won't have to worry about her surviving an unnerfed Big Bang.
Looks like Sylverfyre may be looking for some ethers.
Could be. And set up. You've done the manip. Once you've done that, as long as you turn random encounters off, you can do pretty much anything else you want. You can shop. You can even wander over to Mount Ordeals and take a boss fight, and you'll still preserve your manip.
As Sylverfyre has their manipulation set up, is heading into the giant Fleury, is working through this demist. This spot has quite a bit of health.
2,000, I believe. And the cycles just make it worse.
Decent amount of magic defense too, with these nukes only hitting about 6k.
Yeah, that Iridia is just a little bit lacking in gear. She doesn't have the stat growth that the Quack kid does, leveling up. So even at the same levels with the same gear, her nukes are not going to be quite as impressive. And I think all she's got to her name right now is a Lilith Rod and a Black Robe, but the job gets done. Maybe a Sorcerer Robe, but as far as a caster is concerned, they're one and the same. Offense.
Flurries through, finds Adamant and the Leviathan summon.
Well, the Leviathan summon with the nuke on hand, maybe there's a fight where that comes in handy. The Adamant, though, clearly, hey, that's an objective. Only one to go.
Not quite go mode, still needing a Baron Key or a Magnet Key.
Yeah, and there are still too many checks on the moon to bail and go check and go peek her. You did just open up the D-Mist and you've got Top of Tower and that Rubicon, but that's still only 3 checks. And you've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks on the moon. So moon still outnumbers and you're already.
I think if a Pan shows up here, either here or at the Ogopogo spot, then I would be tempted to at least save Scum or leave and leave a save up here.
Agreed, completely. Pan's easily enough. Power Key even consider it. One more, but Pan is. Mylon Z here means it's my. Oh no, wait, it's Leviathan on top. Never mind.
Well, I got you good on that one.
You got me good, yes you did. Oh, Boardface AI doing some work as Mylon puts a quick 1-2 on Iridia just ahead of the blink of Pharmacy. This spot is one of the weaker moon spots. Flurry's going to be through.
Sylverfyre did find the D-Machine fight and is working through these.
And the counterpunch comes in. Weak only puts the target down to single-digit hit points, and Lightning 1 on the D-Machine to try and take it out only dealt 1 damage. Didn't finish it off, and bam.
You know, if you're out there listening to me doing commentary, you would probably think I'd be, like, rooting for these runners to get exactly what they would need.
Bad karma, confirmed witch.
That would work for my own races. Maybe I don't want to be evil anymore.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you're a lion. Speaking of lions, we have an ant lion at Masamune.
Kind of a punchy spot, but probably won't be too hard with Yang having the power ability. Only going to get counters from Sid.
Well, you'd think that, but Berserk just got slapped on Yang. So Fleur not worried about the counters, and to be fair, the punches have just been demonstrated to be the real terror of this fight.
Sylverfyre doing their D-Machine with only 4 characters. I personally don't know the timing well enough with 4 characters. I struggle with 5. So it is really interesting to see Sylverfyre getting through the grind with just 4.
One less action, one less person you got to worry about messing up your order. They probably just decided that the effort involved in trying to keep the low-level Iridia up, even with only HP-based attacks coming in and a relatively useless action, just leave her down, pick her up at the end.
For chat, yes, the pass is considered a key item in terms of finding it in the game with these flags on, but for the 10 key items to get double experience, it is not a part of that count.
Yeah, and my understanding is that the main reason that is that there are flag sets, there's more than one pass, and then there are some fun little coding things about, well, I found a pass, but is it a key item pass or just a non-key item pass? And just simpler to say, never mind. Pinktail from Masamune Altar gives us 10, and Fleury really committed to the move. Not going back after these multiple earth checks, just going to make sure that the job gets done. And with a pass in hand, that does make a certain amount of sense. You really don't want to come back.
Also possible could just be doing the save here outside the Crystal Sword altar.
True. I mean, if you're going to save scum this is the spot to do it. Might as well.
For Duke Firebird, yeah, the Pinktail only gives gear, does not give a key item. That has bitten me a number of times. I don't know why I randomly forget it, but I do.
Yeah. Normally, if you don't have the no adamants flag on, Pinktail will always give you adamant armor. But adamant armor is not allowed in this tournament because it's amazingly broken. So instead, you just get random high-level gear to replace the adamant.
For Smile Fires, the Baron Castle basement is the vanilla Odin spot.
And it's on par with Feymarch in terms of its power. You can find a Magma Key and avoid going through that walk into Baron Castle and dealing with that spot. And that would be great.
Yeah, Carnazzo here did get the lid off, so not going to be seeing a high-powered wave coming out, but it is pretty punchy, hitting Yang for 1600.
Yep, definitely on the punchy side. And as far as hit points, this is one of the lower spots, and that wave is hit point based, so short-circuiting that first wave should be more than enough. And sure enough, Punch Mage showing off what happens when you exploit elemental weaknesses.
Thunderclaw is best claw, although that was an ice claw.
Yeah, that's Thunder and Ice Claw is the ideal combination there. Inazo is weak to ice when the water is down, and weak to thunder when the water is down. Now that Fleury's back on the surface, we might finally see a trip back to Earth, or Fleury could be really, really committed to this move. But nope, looks like we have the save scum just outside, and it's time to check on the Earth. Cam's going to be a quick check, as is Demon's.
Yeah, when with Pinktail as a key item, the Pink Puffs actually will drop adamant armors instead.
Yeah, I believe they'll still do that even with no adamant on.
Fleury doing the Demus check first. Gonna go check in on Rydia's mom, who's out sunbathing.
Well, it's a part of a chain. Whether that chain has value or not, we may never know.
Can be I'm not gonna say it's a quick check, but at least a check you can run down and see what it is and save scum out of.
Yeah, doesn't take too long.
Got a Black Yang on the head as Sylverfyre is continuing to work through these D machines. I have no idea how many they've done at this point. Should be getting close to wrapping up here, though.
Yeah, agreed. And it'll just be a matter of making the right guesses to get caught back up. We know that Ribbon will hand over Adamant. We know that White Spear will hand over Pan, and we'll be finding soon what the value is for those.
Just the heroin.
Well, we want to switch over, well, either Rydia or more likely Rosa in this case, to Zerker at the last minute. There you go. I don't expect it.
Continuing to turn in the freebies, so Fleury still has Cave Value and the Murasame altar on the moon. Does have Luca Key now and the top of tower to check here on Earth.
And a Rubicanta to Circle. So if this comes up completely empty, it then becomes a question of, do you go back to your save or do you pursue things on Earth? And I'm not sure which one I'd do in this case. But a tower key makes that easier, and I think I'm going to knock out those 2 tower checks.
Now 2 keys, just not the 2 keys we're looking for.
Sure enough, Sylverfyre is dropping weak on Searcher. That signals the end of the grind. Rosa working on taking Tella out, but he's proving a little stubborn. But it was kids that didn't want to take a nap, not old men.
I'm not sure if that Tella was still using the Protect Ring or had a Curse Ring on, but definitely had Black Robes on.
Something said that, that arrow's just not enough.
And 150,000 XP richer.
53 levels on 1 Rydia. All the spells are coming in. That's going to be nuke for her. $32 on the other. Yeah, that should be nuke on the other one from what I'm remembering of their levels.
Yeah, I believe Sylverfyre's first Rydia was in the mid-20s.
Yeah. So Sylverfyre is Z-ready and just needs to avoid all of the things that Fleury did that were not helpful and laser fire straight into go mode. This is still a race. This could still happen.
What would be really interesting if Sylverfyre goes top down and hits Pater with that Bahamut Murasame spot.
Yes. If it turns out that Bahamut has Baron and Murasame has Magnus, then not only does this become a race, but if Sylverfyre does that, Sylverfyre takes a huge lead because Fleury's going to be checking a lot of things here on Earth looking for either of those 2 items and not going to find any.
Open down quickly. See if this has some value.
Where do you go now, Sylverfyre, and what did you find, Fleury?
That was an assassin's dagger.
No. Ouch. What you're hoping for there, to be sure. Time to check on that cannon. Good news, it's not all Gauntlet.
Like Sylverfyre will be running into the Crystal Palace here shortly. Gonna skip cave value. There's Valvalis.
One shot. One more fiend taken out.
Arguably one of the major reasons to take the gang instead of a second Rydia in case that Val was on the moon.
Yeah. Fleury's going to come on out and find out if the chain was Pan to Sheila 2 for tower key to here, or if this was just a rabbit hole for nothing. It looks like Silverfire's heading to the bottom of the moon, which is going to reveal the same Pan and Demist and Adamant that Fleury already has.
I think Silverfyre right now needs to get that Pan and Adamant and ditch the moon immediately after getting those 2 checks. That should give them time to catch up.
Okay, yes, we've seen a Baron key here. That's absolutely what has to happen. But this isn't good news for Silverfyre. This means that Silverfire's quickest way through is to retrace Fleury's steps, and they're already behind. What Silverfyre really needed to have happen is for Fleury to come up empty and take a different route. But yes, the closest thing Silverfyre can do to get in this, on Fleury's heels. Now we know the Pan is the way. Go in, get that Pan, take it to the Baron Key.
Dark Paladin, correct. Fleury did not do Cave Value or the Murasame Altar.
And also, the other problem, though, is that Silverfyre hasn't done Dwarf Castle, which, if I remember correctly, is where Fleury got the Legends.
I did forget about that. Yes, that is where Silverfyre got it. So they're not going to...
alone is not enough for that objective.
Yeah, they're not going to have that incentive to leave after just finding a Pan and an Adamant like Fleury did.
Yeah, and it's also not enough. They also need to find that Magma Key somewhere, which, as runners, we know could be inside Baron, could be at the bottom of Lupin Cave, could be still in the Feymarch, or could still be here on the moon.
Fleury heading immediately into Baron, not surprising here. Gonna get in, get these objectives knocked out. Gonna see who's at that Odin spot. I doubt he will have any trouble there. If you have not done so, please give our runners a follow. They've been putting on an excellent race for us here, showing off a number of different tricks that, not everybody can pull off reliably.
Yeah, second to that. This does look like Fleury's to lose, but Silverfyre is they've still put on a great show to get this far, and it's just the caliber of runners at this level is amazing. It doesn't take much to end up falling behind some of these other runners, and they've still put on a great show. They both have. They both took down a rude Odin, each in different ways, and each handled it quite efficiently, and have worked their way through several other bosses, handled a D-Machine grind that tried to go off the rails for each of them, and they forced it back on. It's been a great show.
Silverfyre got the Adamant Rock, got through that D-Mist, greeted with the Mylon.
And now they're 2 out of 3 from Gobo. Legend at Dwarf Castle, the long chain to the Baron Key, or wherever the magnet is. And Dr. Dialogue in the Basement Throne, not a big deal. We've got hammers. We might have a Thunderclaw. We're done here.
Quake and are going to be good enough for this.
Yeah, we also have a huge pile of hit points split up over 3 different places, so that'll help. Well, there's your pan, Sylverfyre. Your best bet is to leave now. Follow the pan key to the tower. As you come through the tower, realize, hey, I haven't done Dwarf Castle. Maybe I'll look in on that wall in there and get your go mode there. Unless Magma's somewhere convenient. Go makes all kinds of sense. We saw Flurry do it and understood, but we know that's just a pigtail.
I really want to know where this magnet key is.
We'll find out in the spoiler log.
It would be very interesting if it was at the bottom of Luca.
Well, one fight at the Masamune altar, one Masamune sword as a reward. Much more importantly, crystal time.
No ninjas in sight.
And Phineas, your ninjas at the package.
No, we're not going to go and check and confirm that that accusation.
It was Edge at the package with the Murasame. It is slightly faster to... Well, it depends on the fight. Even for the quickest of fights, it is slightly faster to walk out of Baron, as Flurry's doing, than to take the fight. For some particularly long fights, it's an easy decision. But you've got the cutscene to reveal the boss. You've got the crumble after the boss. You've got the long cutscene when the character comes in and you walk all the way down to get the darn key item, and by then you can just do this.
And unfortunately, can't warp or exit to get out of here. So this long walk is just backtracking your steps and hopefully not making a mistake or a misstep, because just a couple of missteps can actually be longer than doing that boss fight.
Yeah. And you get used to walking them one way, but walking it the other way less often. The reverse walk out of the LST is something I really hate having to do. That feels bad. But Flurry has a pass. Flurry has a crystal. Flurry is landing right outside of Troya.
Definitely gonna go party it up in the secret pub, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's dance time. We've had dance music, so clearly we're gonna go to the club and dance.
Chad seems to think that we're wrong on this.
You know, there's a bunch of flags showing up. They have a Z on them. It doesn't sound like it has anything to do with the club. Do you know what that's about?
Yeah, so we can't just randomize where Zeromus is in Free Enterprise. He's too powerful, he's too big, but we can randomize what he looks like. And thanks to the wonderful Scala Kitty, we have over 460 different sprites that Zeromus can be. And Commander, you want to do the honors?
And because of that, at this time, we like to ask, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Flip table miss.
Sorry?
Always rooting for flip table miss.
Flip table miss is good times. Potato miss is my favorite, but there's a large pool of sprites that are pretty close.
Crystal's out, and we will be revealing whose butt
Zeromus. I've never seen this one.
It's horrific. Scala, that is wonderful.
Chad is letting us know that this is from something called Cookie Clicker. I blame myself for mentioning the cookie betting earlier. I apologize. Yang is good enough for that nuke to hit. He's got the hit points to take it and just keep on going.
And Sylverfyre is leaving the moon.
Yeah, about the same time Fleury did. Sylverfyre went up to, actually exactly the same time. Went to the Crystal Sword Altar, decided done, that's enough. He's probably going to follow along the same chain that Fleury did, but is going to have to also add in a loop to Dwarf Castle to get the legend, or find the magma somewhere else, possibly down in.
Gonna probably follow the chain exactly, and hopefully Sylverfyre will make a quick stop at Dwarf Castle.
That is what we are hoping for.
Fleury is looking like he is handling this Zeromus fight pretty well. Has Berserks on Sid and Yang, and nukes with Rydia.
Yeah, both of these parties in the hands of these runners. Zeromus can punish you if you come in with a bit too much pride, but I don't foresee any kind of problem for these runners. Bouncing the spells so as not to take the counters. Piling on the damage. Almost 9,000 from Rydia on that nuke. Looking good.
I just want him to kill it so this wrinkle mist will go away. Yeah, there was a Stardust Rod for sale in the Coca-Cola shop, so that is putting in the work.
Yep, another 9k nuke showing that it wasn't a fluke. 8k on white. That's alright. And check from Sylverfyre, get the tower key. We know that's going to lead to the Baron key. Unnerfed Big Bang comes across, but there's enough power here for everyone other than Tella to survive it. No real worries.
There's some rocks. That signals that Zeromus has less 12,000 health.
Actually, less than 3 has finishes it off.
Get your GG's in the chat for Fleury14.
And Fleury's here with us. Well done.
Thank you. Pretty happy with that one.
It was an extremely well-run race. How are you feeling seeing that Odin in the hook spot?
I was okay with it. It made me very happy that I went early to check it out, because I knew if I just had decent defense items, and I got Sid a few levels, I could Thunderstrike him no problem. Especially after seeing the curse ring in the shop. So, yeah, like that Odin fight and the Plague fight, both going flawlessly, even though the Plague fight didn't pay off, was very, very satisfying. And seeing that boss there definitely made me feel pretty good, knowing that I had gone in there beforehand and was like mentally ready to kind of deal with that, and just preparing, practicing for Odin strats like that. It helped, and getting through that, I definitely felt pretty good. Not too good because like Syl's an amazing runner, and I'm pretty sure they know how Thunder Strike works too. So like I didn't feel like super ahead or anything, but I was definitely satisfied pulling that off.
Well, you both one-shot
Right.
Odin, but did it in different ways. You did the Thunderstrike, Silverfyre just power overwhelming it.
Yeah, that's I think with Tella having lit 3, that's probably doing in the neighborhood of 10k. And if you wouldn't have the Yang by then. If you had lit arrows, even Rydia's lit 2. Oh, you wouldn't have lit 2 by then. Yeah, there's a few ways you could power overwhelming it. I kind of just didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah, did loot Evelyn Castle, found a couple of nice items. There's a white robe in there, a couple other things that were really nice that really helped make it a little bit smoother for him.
Nice, awesome.
So, party makeup. A question and then something interesting to tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Castle, you've got 4 people in hand. You're looking to fill out that party. You see Cecil, and you say no. Was there ever any thought of grabbing him, or was just vanilla agility a thing you were not willing to tangle with, just for a defense sword in an event?
He might have been the backup, depending on the moon character. At the time I saw him, I was thinking no, but like if that's an Edward or a Tella, like I'm probably getting more out of that than I would something else. I guess the downside is that I'd possibly have to do a little more of a grind just to get Rose's HP up, because I'm not reliably going to be able to nerf Big Bang, so combo platter's still on the table. RA2, blah 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 blah. It's kind of didn't want to deal with the warts there. I was just hoping to see a Black Mage or Yang or even Kane on the moon, and as soon as I saw either of them, Cecil was done. If a Crystal Sword shows up, sure, but I don't even think an X-Cal. I don't think I take Cecil there.
Yeah, that's the spice I was mentioning. Silverfyre didn't go to Dwarf Castle, but to set up a double slingshot for their D-Machine grind, Silverfyre did check the hairdryer's chest, and that's where the Crystal Sword.
That's incredibly smart and a great play. And yeah, like having a Crystal Sword, sure. Yeah, you
Right?
kind of want to. you would take a Crystal Sword 11 times out of 10. But I felt pretty good with Swole Yang in there, and I didn't think I lost time on any fights. Looking at the spoiler log, the thing that I got a little fortunate on was I think probably everybody was watching sees, oh look, hey, there's Pan, hey, you got Demus. When are you gonna leave the moon, right? So
it popped up on your screen on the stream, Magma at the Mursame.
Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, well, I gotta finish at least the bottom. I have both a terminal and a gating key item left. I got it. I don't want to come back here. And if I get the bottom done, fine. I'll go check all the moon stuff. I just have to hope that the magma key is not at Murasame, or I'm giving up like an entire tower run and an entire Baron run, because you wouldn't even need to do Baron key at that point in time. So yeah, got a little lucky there. I probably cleared a lot more than if somebody chooses to go top down or just full clear the moon. That's the way to go. So like looking at the spoiler log, sigh of relief there, because that could have gone much more poorly.
We were commentating once you got the the pan and the adamant, you kept clearing more checks, and a number of us were like, well, why not just save scum and go check those? And while it proved to be the way to go, you were just more thorough than some of us would have been.
Yeah, it's at that point there were so many other gating key items that it becomes like, okay, well, like Luca Key ended up having the Earth Crystal, right? So like, what if Demus has Earth Crystal and Tower Key, which I think it did? That's like, am I gonna go there and then essentially orphan the bottom spots for good? Because who wants to make that moonwalk twice? And are those bosses really going to take me that long? Probably not with this party. So, like, yeah, it felt bad getting Dragoon Spear and whatever was at the Crystal, whatever were the other two spots. But I do feel like if you're going bottom of the moon, unless you feel like you're super behind or you need to, like, make a gamble, then you finish out the bottom of the moon.
This puts you at 2-1. I know that nobody in this stage of the tournament is on their laurels, but is resting on their laurels for one moment. But 2-1 is a good start. 4-2 seems to be the number that people are looking for to have a pretty good chance at hitting the next phase. So, when's your next match?
I believe I have Slippery on Tuesday.
Feeling about the rest of your matches now with this table in the table round?
Well, like you mentioned, 4-2 is kind of the goal per se. I feel like with the quality of runners in this tournament, I could just as easily go from, I could have finished 6-0 and I could have finished 0-6. Like, there's a lot of good runners here, and losing to anybody in this table is not really anything to be ashamed of. That said, very happy to come away with 2 out of 3 with the opponents I have faced thus far. And yeah, it's just I know it sounds cliche again, but just one race at a time, right? Like, I can only play your own game.
Absolutely. It's gotten you this far.
I mean, every match I've caught of you, you've ran fantastic races, so I look forward to seeing more of them.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I also want to give a shout out to Leggy for restreaming. I didn't see who the tracker was. Zoe, I think it is. Iker. I appreciate the time for that, and you guys doing commentary. Yeah, you guys keep this engine running, and yeah, it's totally appreciated.
Thank you for putting the show on for us. No race without you.
Thank you, GG's. That's all I have for Fleury, unless you have something else, Commander.
No, I am good. You got any last thoughts? Go for it, Fleury.
No, I'll head out. I'll just leave you guys invent sus, and that's about it. So, see you guys.
And with that final word, we're now going to watch Sylverfyre finish this off. They followed the Luca chain, got hold of an Earth Crystal, and now are heading through Baron to take care of that objective. We know that Earth Crystal isn't going to lead to go mode, so eventually they're going to have to find their way to either Dwarf Castle for the Legend Sword or head back up to the moon. We saw from Fleury's spoiler log that Magma Key, the other piece of go mode, is at the Murasame. So we know that there's a Magisters fight here. That's not going to give them any trouble. Probably straight across to the objective after that. Although, I could see that going either way. You still need another key item. And you might as well. It's a slightly longer to go ahead on its own to do the Baron main throne. But you're still looking for a key item, and you don't know which way you have to go for it. I think that you might as well just take care of it now, and hopefully the last piece of go mode is there.
Yeah, I could see Sylverfyre doing the Baron Throne right after this. Gonna do the objective first, just in case. But we know that it's not going to be the item that they need, so we'll probably do that Baron Throne.
Yeah, because if it turns out that Magma Key or Legend Sword is here, then they're done, and they can just leave. And they don't have to sit through that cutscene, but we know that's not the case.
Getting the Dr. Dialogue fight, and probably just nuke and quake through this really quickly.
Yeah, nothing more than a speed bump.
So then the question is, do you do that Earth Crystal, or do you finish some of your under tracks?
Sorry. Also, not really sorry. I think you're in the neighborhood. Zot's a little long, but when you're just running down these last few checks looking for one item, there's sort of a tendency to hit what you're next to. We saw Sylverfyre already demonstrate that a bit by running down the Luca chain. I honestly don't know about Karma. I wouldn't hazard a guess here. Earth Crystal's an option. Dwarf Castle is still in play. Going back up to the moon for the last two spots. Going for that Rubicon at Asura.
I think if I was coming out of this and getting put right outside of Baron, I might be tempted to go to Dwarf Castle before Zot, just because it feels like a quicker check overall. Both of them are two bosses for one key item check, but I think the cutscenes and stuff are going to be a lot faster in that regard.
Yeah, and less of a walk to get to it. They each have their two bosses, and they each have their share of cutscene madness. You have the doll dance for the first one and the hand crawl for the second one. But that first one also has that lovely lightning zap from the Golbez spot boss and the mist swirling in for the second. They're both pretty slow.
Yeah, we've been seeing a number of runners in the tournament fading Dwarf Castle because of that. So it's really interesting to find out what their mindset is, and when choosing which to fade, because Sylverfyre still also has the Baron in.
That's true. I'd forgotten that check is still on the table for Sylverfyre. Well, and now we get to see what the boss is here. It's D's Lunars, but if you got up for a quick drink, you're not going to know, because this is going to be over probably with just this quick.
You would be correct on that.
Good news, you get to skip the crumble.
And another Rydia.
I mean, I thought, even though it wouldn't have mattered now, I thought, maybe the seed would give us a little more variety in characters, a little what might have been if something really weird had happened, but no, just another Rydia.
There's only 6 distinct characters.
Cecil, Rydia, Rosa, Yang, Tella, Sid. Yeah.
It's Fable Gauntlet all over again.
Waiting for chat to tell me. Yeah, Fable Gauntlet at least gave a 7, but oftentimes you wouldn't see the 7th because it'd be like one instance tucked somewhere weird.
Still's going to dive in and do the Baron in check,
which we know is just gear. In fact, Sylverfyre is going to 16 out of 17 this. At some point, they're going to find either the Legend Sword or the Magma Key, and when they do, they're going to go get the crystal. And that'll be 16 of 17, which is probably as full a clear as you're going to get on a 3 out of 4 objective set. You've got to have 2 things fall in your lap right at the end to true 17 out of 17.
So Moon had two required key items with the Pan and the Magma Key and the Adamant. Depending, 2 of the 3.
Yeah. Pan led its way to the Baron Key after a long run. Magma Key is directly up there. And half of Forge in the form of the Adamant was also up there. So Moon, absolutely not haunted, completely required, and you can't quite get the entire crystal on the Moon, which would be impressive, but you can come pretty darn close. But it was split up enough that, if you show up at the Moon and you go top down, for instance, you get your Magma Key, and you go, okay, that's the thing. Got that. K value gives you nothing. And you wander down, and if you go directly to the Crystal Sword altar...
that was a Dragoon Lance.
That was a Dragoon Lance, thank you. And then you probably don't bail just on the magma. All you've done is an objective. You haven't opened anything on Earth. Then you can wander down to the room, get your demist, get your pan, and you're probably willing to bail then. But if you don't...
Pan was actually from the White Spear altar, and the Adamant was behind.
Thank you. Right. Adamant was behind demist. So you've got your demist. Actually, you're in go mode then. You've got your magma, you've got your Adamant, you don't even need the demist. Top down would have been the plan. If only because you're more likely to full clear the Moon than abandon it early.
Where does Sylverfyre go next? Looks like they're gonna do a run up the Tower of Zot. We can see maybe we'll get a 7th distinct character.
Maybe. And yet, no treasury check. Did not expect one. This party does not need gear. This party is ready for whatever's left in the seed. So what bosses haven't we seen? What could be up here? Let us think. I haven't seen Octomom, I don't think.
Pale Dim.
Pale Dim, true.
Eric Guards.
Have we seen Bahamut?
Have not.
Charging straight, no need for a save.
See, this is way more impressive when you realize that I wasn't taking notes this entire run, and I'm doing all this from memory.
Right? But it was Dark Imps. Forgot the Dark Imps.
Hiker's job to track all the bosses, not us. Make short work of the Dark Imps is going to be charging right in.
Yeah.
We'll see that Evil Wall is waiting for him in Dwarf Castle, and hopefully that will spur Sylverfyre, and there's another Iridia.
Jeez. So much green hair. No more distinct characters in Zot. Got another Iridia and another Tella.
The seed just doesn't want any other characters.
Oh, since you've got what you need, what are you whining about? I gave you a special character on the Moon. That's all you get. Oh, water hag. Freer than the free that it already was.
Forgot the freest boss when we were trying to figure out which bosses could be up here.
We did. Funny thing is, this is actually going to make the fight longer. This could have been over in probably one nuke cast, but the water hag has to be hit 3 times. We have to have Anna try and encourage before, and we'll crumble. Take a quick look through the inventory, as a pro does, see if there's anything that needs to be rearranged, and carry on. And this will end the chain. There's no key item to be had here. Sylverfyre only is missing 2 key items, and we know where they both are. And they're not here. So this will end this, but you do tend to follow a chain. Even when you've seen the done come in from your opponent, there's still the general tendency of, I've committed to this path, I'm not going to walk away from it early. So, not too surprised that when Sylverfyre chose to do Luca and found Earth, just follow the chain. But now that they're going back underground, are we going to see a trip to Dwarf Castle? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
This is going to put Sylverfyre at Zeromus pretty quickly. This is going to be nice and efficient.
Gonna see
here, get the Legend Sword, go straight next door to the Forge, get the crystal, pop up, and use the path.
Gonna see that, Cecil. The Sylverfyre still is holding on to that crystal sword.
Possibly have a little bit of thoughts of what might have been.
One nuke, enough to take out Fake Yang.
Yep. Spot's looking at just under 9k, and Rydia is slinging a 9k nuke back now. Funny to have Yang gating the one instance of a paladin that could end the fight sooner rather than later.
Making sure that Tella doesn't get too much experience so that he can continue to be an anchor.
Yep. Take a moment, deal with that. And then vaporize a wall and get the Legend Sword. Get to watch Gray Hand, second best hand. Don't at me. Gray Hand is second best hand.
Ghost Hand, definitely best hand.
Sorry?
Ghost Hand, definitely best hand.
Yep, absolutely. The sprite you get here tells you what color hand you're going to end up with. And if you find D-Mist here, you get a very spooky ghost hand. And I think I heard the big sigh of relief as that Legend Sword was picked up all the way over here.
That would mean you have some time travel abilities that you need to be sharing with the group, because that sigh would have came 15 minutes ago.
Maybe it was a very slow-moving sigh across the country?
Okay, I'll accept that.
Props to them for finishing this off. You've seen the done. You saw it half an hour ago, but you're determined to finish this off, get it done. I've seen runners forfeit in similar situations and understood. Sometimes life is there, sometimes you're just done. But it's always nice to see runner bring it home. Oh, didn't realize that, Scala. Thank you. Scala pointing out that Sylverfyre typically isn't watching Discord during a race, so doesn't know. Which makes sense. It's one more distraction. I do hide the part of the Discord room that says so-and-so is typing, because I definitely don't want to see that during a race. But watch it, but I personally will see the done. But can completely understand, don't want to see the done, don't want to see anything. Just let it be done. There's a forge. There's an Excalibur that can't even be thrown. Here's the walk to deal with the fact that the Falcon is parked right outside of Zot. That'll get you if you take a Falcon there. But you can just...
That was a swag walk.
Just a little swag. Showing off that, hey, if you ever get stuck there with a Falcon, just so you know, you've got a way out of the problem. You can hop in that forest there and get a yellow chocobo. You can run over that bridge if you can't find that forest. You're not stuck. You're not locked. Here we are. Sylverfyre's coming into the Z fight. With this party and with their skill, I don't see any problem here. This should be GG very shortly. And yeah, the bridge isn't in vanilla. That's very true, Scala. It got added in FE for if you can't find that chocobo forest. It's not as obvious as some of the other forests.
You'll forgive me if I don't watch the fight, because I don't want to be having nightmares of that Wrigglemas.
I'll carry it from here then.
It's got big teeth.
Now this might, given that Sylverfyre's got 2 Ridias instead of a Riddia and a Yang, I'm guessing this is going to be pure reflect. And that Sid's just going to play again. Fleury went through all of Zeromus' hit points because he had Yang swinging in for damage, and Zeromus has effectively more hit points than the game system would allow. So there's a part in the fight partway through where his hit points refill. But anything that's part of a script can't be triggered by reflected spells. So if you start dealing reflected damage when you reach that point, then you don't have to deal with the refill, and you can get through the fight on a lot less damage.
Gonna have nukes and whites going.
And with 2 nukes, white, yep, there comes the nerfed Big Bang. The only one I really expect to see here. There's enough spell power damage here that I'm not even sure Sylverfyre is going to go for a Cure 4 to heal. It might just be straight damage. But even if another Big Bang does come around, that Sid is strong enough to accept not only the nerfed Big Bang, but the unnerfed Big Bang and still be standing as a wall target. And he can play Chemist while everyone's bouncing spells, because not like he has anything better to do than pure reflect strats. Yeah, and there we go with the Cure 4, just to make sure. I like it. White's slower than Nuke in probably doesn't quite have the damage output. You could not lose too much pace. And this way, if the Big Bang does come through, probably still have everyone standing and can finish the job. Sure enough, there it is. And everyone is fine.
I definitely lost track. Counting is one of my weaknesses. And that's the Flash.
And there we are. Sylverfyre completes the seed. And it's only their first loss, so that's 1-1 for them. Still a very good chance to get to that 4-2 record that we were talking about with Fleury. Well done. And we'll see if Sylverfyre is going to join us for an interview afterwards here in a moment. Their official time is 2:18:44.
GG Sylverfyre on a very nice run.
So, I don't know what your favorite part of this bad karma is, but I'm pretty sure you can guess what the favorite part of this seed was for me.
The swag chocobo at the end.
The swag chocobo was very good, and that is your choice. I respect it, but I have to go with the music.
And we're joined by Sylverfyre in the booth. GG's.
Hello. I fell down all the wrong rabbit holes, I guess, but I'm fine with how I played. So
Yeah, you played well. It's just as things start opening up, you have to start making checks and skipping some other checks that you don't feel are worthwhile. And I certainly can't point to anything you did and go, "Oops." So
I'm sure at some point, like, somebody could pull out like a calculator and like run some numbers and show me that like some of the locations I was prioritizing were like not statistically advantageous, like in a time per check respect, but like there's so many options that seed is like,
yeah,
I guess I wasn't doing that math perfectly in my head. I probably, but
Giving too much away. Really the only difference between your run and Fleury's run was Fleury did Dwarf Castle before the grind.
yes, I mentioned that. It's like you probably like, because I looked at the time and it's like he finished like 30 minutes ahead of me. It's like, I know what you did. You did Dwarf before going to the moon, and that means that Adamant puts you in go mode, or like once you go back, you follow your tower key to the tower that you had left behind because nobody would do keyless tower in that state. So
Right.
you go to the double key item place, and that's like the first place you go after checking the pan, and then it's like, oh, you're in go mode now. Okay, bye.
Yeah, well, Fleury did still need to check around on the moon because Fleury didn't top down the moon. So,
No. Top downing the moon. Like, neither of us top down the moon.
No, none of you did.
But the adamant that we got on lower moon would have, like, just doing lower moon and exiting. Yeah, we skipped the magma key. In fact, we both skipped that magma key, and that feels a little bad because that's another thing that could have like left me, like, made our times very comparable, possibly with me winning if I'd not skipped magma key there, not skipped the payload spot.
Yeah, but adamant alone wasn't enough for go mode at the time, not knowing where the
but
Fleury still had to went ahead and cleared out the bottom.
You're pushed back to Earth by the fact that it's like, okay, there's a Mist Dragon, a Pan.
Yep.
The Pan leads to like Mist Dragon and Pan. That's a lot of stuff back on Earth. That's more stuff back on Earth than like everything on the moon left. So you do that, and it's like, oh, and then you follow your obvious tower key check, because why wouldn't you skip tower when you have key finally?
Right.
And then you're in go mode. And so, like, you're effectively not making any extraneous plays at that point.
And after Fleury went ahead and knocked out the Masamune altar and the Crystal Sword altar, that's exactly what he did.
Yep. And I kind of, I had done the same thing and it's like, oh, there's my Baron key, okay. But I'm still fishing around, like, doing, like, Zot and Sealed Cave and everything, looking for, looking for that Legend Sword of that Magma key.
Yeah, which was fair. I mean,
Which
Luca.
is fair. It's just those are slow things to do, even when you're
Well, I
using
mean,
them.
People dread the long walk down Luca, but you just think about how much time you're sitting through those cutscenes in Dwarf. If Luca turns out to be silly treasure, then you set out and you don't have to warp out.
Yeah, but then it's Earth Crystal, and it's Earth Crystal, and your heart just sinks because it's like, I have to walk this out.
Yeah.
And then I have to look at Zot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, like, I was mentioning, it's like, I think I was like a couple minutes behind getting underground. Like, I definitely prepared more for that route than Fleury. That said, it's like, I would much rather over prepare for that, like, prepare significantly for that Odin fight and then be 3 minutes behind Fleury getting underground, rather than have what happened to Aizen Tayama and his opponent.
Yeah,
where both of them just got stonewalled by an Odin there.
Yeah, and I was actually commenting that, because I had seen that part with Aizen Tayama's race and was wondering if the same thing would happen. And both of you one-shot that Odin in two different ways. Fleury got the Thunderstruck. You went basically power overwhelming.
Well, I knew, I saw the Odin, and then I saw lit arrows in a shop, and it's like, well, there's how I'm killing Odin.
Right.
It was
Samurai Bow lit arrows is like 3k berserk, and how often do you get to see Tella do quad 9s?
Exactly. But like Mad Karma's saying, we're hyping this Odin up. We're like, oh, this is the thing. This could be a major breakpoint in runner's progress. I'd be really impressed. They're good, but I'd be really impressed to see somebody one-shot this fight. And you both just casually walk up within minutes of one another. Whatever.
Seeing that Odin, basically my game plan is that point. It's like, I'm going to spend a little extra time preparing, and I'm going to one-shot that Odin, because that has a good chance of putting me ahead of even a very good player.
Yeah, and it was impressive of you getting through that. Like, I would have probably spent another 20 minutes myself just trying to prepare even more. I would have taken random fights, after wiping 2 or 3 times, but it was.
I had Blink, the key things that I had there. I had Blink. I ended up not using it. I made sure my party order was such that the berserks would go off as soon as possible, because that's really critical when you're doing any kind of relative agility one. You want those berserks up as soon as possible. But those are the two real things there. Like, I guess the Blink was unnecessary, but I didn't feel like it was unnecessary when I was preparing. But I did have fairly, quite good defensive gear, so.
Yeah, you had a number of things that Fleury didn't because of the Castle Evelyn check. That white robe for Rosa, for the extra defense.
And like a samurai armor on Sid, too, which is like, he gets meleeed in the front row by an Odin and takes 500, and it's like, okay. You don't have that on him, and he takes like 1,500, and then you're like, well, there's all my damage out the window.
All in all, you both ran very similar routes. Fleury's D machine was a little bit faster. He cut. I cut his sword about by 2.
I definitely, I kind of slipped up a couple times. Also, I didn't have ethers there. I was, using the Lilith Rod, which felt clunky, but it worked. So, my D machine fight was definitely clunky, and I probably lost a minute or so, or 2 minutes there.
Yeah, Fleury didn't find ethers either, so was definitely using the Lilith Rod as well. I think found a succubus somewhere.
I saw succubus in shops, and I, forgot to get them, and I'm like, oh, well, whatever, I have a Lilith Rod, it's fine. But I definitely, that made me kind of nervous.
you're 1-1 right now. Your next race is tomorrow, I believe, because I'm doing commentary for that one. I think I've done all of your races on the table flags. How are you feeling about the next coming up?
I feel pretty good. I definitely like of the opponents I had, I ranked Fleury as like my toughest opponent. So, you know, it's like I kind of showed up tonight. It's like, look, just play well and let what happens happens. Like not gonna get too hung up on the results. I feel still pretty okay going into tomorrow.
Forward to tomorrow's race. Like I enjoyed your last race, I enjoyed this one as well. So tomorrow will be another good one to be watching.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
That's all I. Commander, you got anything else?
No, just good luck in the rest of your matches, and you put on a good show for us. Thank you.
You and GG's.
Thank you.
And on that note, we are going to be heading over. We have another race going on over on the Free Enterprise channel. We'll be kicking you guys over there to be catching on that. Please be mindful. Do not spoil this race when we end up raiding over there. There will be people who haven't been watching would like to check out the VOD. So please keep spoilers to a 0.
And one last thanks to you, Bad Karma, for some excellent co-commentary with me. To Iker for stepping in on tracking, Leggy Starstream for taking care of some stubborn restreams, and to sylverfyre and Fleury for putting on a good show. Give them a follow.
And to you, the viewers, everybody, we will see you over on Free Enterprise.